Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. What are we working on? So in the last video, we made this chassis, and we made it work. So in this video here, what we want to do is, I want to make the steering work, and then I also want to work on a suspension. So what we need to do is, we need to change these couple of parts around. This one and this one here. So what that means is, I'm just going to duplicate it. I'll take that constraint and delete it. I'll take that constraint and delete it. And then I'll take this part. Let's see. This will be left. Left rear. And then that's this attachment here. Yeah, there we go. And its position. Because each one of these things needs to move independently in order for us to have a working suspension. So, and it's the same with the front here. So if I duplicate that, and I get rid of that, what's this part here? It's that one, and that is this one here. No, this one here. No. Yeah, there we go. It doesn't matter, at this point it doesn't really matter where the constraint is. We're going to be moving it a little bit. Alright, and then because when we align the steering, we're going to need to align it a little bit better. But this is just for now. So now I have 4 independent parts. Let's take this and this, and we're just gonna move. I'm just gonna move this up a little bit just so we can see. Right, this would be our quote-unquote suspension. Let's say this is our drivetrain. Now this weld here, we're gonna delete. We're gonna delete the welds to these parts. I'm gonna see if okay, and then now what I want to do is I want to scale these down a little bit. Maybe something like that. I mean, they don't have to be equal, obviously. Like, this thing is not really. We'll see how it looks, right? Might be a little wide, whatever. All that stuff will be adjusted. What matters is that we have our concept, and then now we're getting the drivetrain working and that sort of stuff. Once the code is in, then we can go back and work on the cosmetics. But in order to test the basic design, we need a basic structure, and that's all this is. And then once we know that the basic structure works, and the code works, then we can worry about the vanity after, how it looks, all that sort of stuff. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to attach these to the body. So what we can do is this can be the rear attach, and then in here we're going to go insert object, attachment, and then we're going to duplicate that. And now what we want to do is we want to create a hinge. So if we go to model and we create a where is it here, a hinge between here and here, and then what we want to do is we want to take that. Is that right? Is that its position? Yeah, we can move it sort of here. So now this is like a rocker arm, right? So this whole arm is now going to be moving up and down on that hinge. And this is the center of where it's going to move up and down. So we'll take this position here. And we'll do that, and then we just need to do that on, this is the rear, obviously, so this isn't too bad. And we'll move this one that way a little bit. Okay, so let's take its position. There we go. Now, the other thing we need to do is, we probably need to create a spring. So, between here, and if I say a spring, between there and here somewhere, right? And we'll do the same on the other side. There we go, something like that. And I'll just press play and we'll just see how it looks. Interesting. I don't know if I set up the springs. I may not have. Probably not. Free length, stiffness, 10,000. There we go. I might have to do what I did last time and put in the prismatics just to keep it in alignment. Like shocks, quote unquote. Yeah, I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that. I'm sure there's a way to... Alright, so yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's create a prismatic between there and there. And same thing, let's click on that and we'll create a prismatic between there and there. That should hold it into place. Yep, there we go. Now we have rear suspension on the vehicle. Neat. Okay, so now we need to do that to the front. Except this is going to be a little bit different because we want the front to steer. So, I mean, essentially this would be based off like the center of the tire. So we can go insert object, attachment, this one here, and we will call this steer. And then same with this one here, we got insert object attachment. And we'll call this steer. So, yeah, okay. So we can create a spring between here and here. Let's say, and then same with this side here. We can select this, we can create a spring. However that's gonna look. Right, we can always align that. You know, we can always align it later. Whatever. Because we're going to be moving the tires around. We're going to be doing a lot here. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing. We need a prismatic to there. And same thing, we'll create a prismatic to there. And I'm sure there's some limits that need to be set. I'll be going through those probably in the next one. Oh yeah, see, it's telling me that it needs to be basically right over top of it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Right, right. We still need to create the hinge. No, let's make it its own attachment. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, and then copy. There we go. Cool, so now we have a car and it has a suspension. I should see, the suspension is rigid. Let's see. I could probably turn the rear down actually. And then if I inserted some cylinders, some bumps, anchor, now I'm hoping there we go. Oh yeah. Doesn't quite compress. I'll have to work on that. That could be the prismatics, but there you go. You get the basic idea. Okay, so now what we need to do is we just need to work on steering. So we need to get rid of this and this one here. And we just need to change that. So we need to change that to a hinge, but we need to rotate this. Let's see, we want to rotate that like that. And then we'll take this position. The center of the tire is where we want the vehicle to turn. Oh, this is another attachment, I'm guessing. No, not that one. No, that one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's what we gotta do here. This one here, make a hinge to here. Okay, hold on, let me do that. No. Alright, well, it's not going to let me do that. Okay, let's do that then. Now, this position, copy it, and it becomes this position here. Copy. Paste. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm not too sure about the limits enabled in the hinges, but let's find out, shall we? No, those aren't the ones that we want. We want this hinge. Put this in here, and we want this hinge as well. And then we can group these two as a folder, and we can say steering. Just like that. Now, when it comes to rotating, we can say limits enabled. And so it's going to rotate, yeah, we could just say 45. Why not? This one, though, there we go. Okay. So I guess that means that we'll have to change the restitution. So in this case, we're going to change this W to A, and this one to D, because we're still testing these. And instead, this is going to be left, and this is going to be right. Then we're going to go into our vehicle script, and we'll just copy this, and we will say left, and right, left stop. Ooh, yes, we need to do that. And then right and right stop. Because we want this to be like power steering. So it will should correct back to 0. So this will be left stop. And then what we need to do is we need to take this, we need to copy it. And then this will be right. And this will be right stop. And then that will be A and A. And this will be D and D. Perfect. So we are going to say drive dot steering, and then this will just be A, let's see, no, R and L. Okay. Okay, so if steering dot R dot restitution equals let's try 40. Let's just try that. So what I'm trying to do is, if I press no, what's going on here? Oh, you know what? Yes, okay. So it's gonna steer. Ooh, this is not gonna work. Actually, this is not gonna work. That is not going to work at all. Nope, I'll have to change the steering around here. I think that attachment isn't here. Yeah. So yeah, we need an additional part in here. And that additional part. Oh, the cat's hungry. He's sitting down, being so patient. And hey, where's my fancy feast? Hey, where's your fancy feast, huh? All right, I guess I better get my act together here. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to attach. Oh yes. We need to attach a cylinder to here, and then this piece here is what is going to be our steering. So let me just straighten all this out here. Okay, so what we need to do with this part here is we need to insert an attachment, insert object, and attachment. From here, we need to create a cylinder constraint to there. Perfect. And then we need to take that just like that. And then we just need to say limits enabled and tell it to go this way, 0. Perfect. Really simple, easy peasy. What we'll do is we'll duplicate this part. And we'll delete that. Excellent. And then what we want to do is the same thing. We want to create a cylinder constraint between here and here. This will have to be rotated like that, and then we'll take this part's position. There. So now we can still drive. Let's just test it out to make sure, but now we should be able to drive without the steering. Yeah. Whatever it's doing there. Now we can still drive without the steering. Perfect. Now, for the steering, what we need to do is we need to create a hinge. I guess we could use the same attachment. No, because if we have to rotate it, so we could just say from here to here, just like that, and then we can take this part's position, and we can make it this part's position. There we go, and then we can take that hinge, and that now becomes our, and then we need to do the same thing here. All right, and this one becomes L. There we go. Now let's see how that is going to go. Perfect. Now what we need to do is we need to say limits enabled like that. And this one here, we also need to say limits enabled. Excellent. And its restitution is 0. So if we change this to a servo, which is what we want. All right, now let's see what happens. Cool. There we go. So now they're kind of steering. So now what we need to do is we need to get the code to help us steer better. And that's going to do it for setting up the steering. So what we need to do is we need to say drivetrain.steering.r, and instead of the restitution, what we're going to do is we're going to say dot target angle. We're going to say r dot target angle equals, and then let's just say 45. So let's just see what happens. And this will be when we press D. So it's trying to spin. I wonder if the part is this collidable? It shouldn't. None of this should be collidable. No, can't collide. False. Can't collide. False. I wonder. Let's see. We are if left. So that's A. All right. Yeah. All right. We may have to turn the torque up. There we go. Now, it didn't work when I pressed, when I stopped pressing A. So, oh, that's right. So then this here, we should say, it should go back to 0. And actually this should be minus 45. And if we copy this and say L, it should be 45. And then if we copy this and say L, there we go. All right. Now, we just need to reverse this. Cool, now we have a car that can drive. Sort of. So like I say, now what we need to do is we need to configure the wheels. You see how they're just they're sort of skipping along. Nice. You know, it's nothing fantastic, but it'll work, right? It'll work. And then if we give it, so now if we take this, right, that's basically it. The next step is just to finish setting up the vehicle, what we want it to do. So we can either continue to set up the vehicle using the keypad or using the keys, which is, I think that's what I'm going to do. Then what we're going to go over is creating a, how does the player know what controls there are for the vehicle? So we'll have to create a little window with a button that opens up and it'll tell the controls of the vehicle. And that's pretty much it. We've now made ourselves a basic, it's a vehicle now. We have a vehicle that we can drive around, finally. It needs reverse. It just needs a few more things. Lights. Oh yeah, it just needs some lights. But other than that, I mean, we have a vehicle. We have a working vehicle. And this could be anything. It could be a train, any kind of land vehicle, let's say. Flight is a little bit different. We will probably potentially go over that. So now what we want to do is we just need to adjust things like the stiffness and the resistance and anything like that in here, right? Maybe the angular speed is too slow and that's why it's having a hard time staying where it is. Maybe the motor torque is too small. Things like that. So that's just sort of things that we need to work on. And then the stiffness, maybe we want to limit, right? That's how far it's going to go. So yeah. So that's going to do it for part 2. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. Hey, Meowsers, and I will see you all in the next one. Hey, get out of the way, cat. Get out of the way, cat. Have a seat. Oh my. You cat. Cat, let me see.